Okay, so welcome back. So this hike is a short one. As a matter of fact, that is the actual point of this hike. It's going to be probably a little under 6 miles, and the weather is unusually warm for winter. So that should give you an idea. We expect it will rain soon, so that's why you can see a little bit of water here and there. But other than that, this is a nice, relatively... Actually, I shouldn't be so ignorant of the fact that not everyone has my condition. I hate saying that because it sounds like I'm bragging, but it is true. I am in pretty good shape. Hell, I've earned it. I've earned the right to say that. Yes. But I'm saying this because, to me, this is it's kind of a beginner hike. But to many others, this will probably be an intermediate hike, not a beginner hike. A beginner hike would probably be 2 miles or less. This is going to be about between 4 and 6 miles has been the times that I've done this. The hardest part will be when we climb up that boy over there. Actually, that boy and Rattlesnake Hill will be the challenge. Our beginning here will be not much, just a brief introduction. We'll sweat a little. As you can see, my heart rate there, it'll go up a bit, but nothing like when, see, I didn't even bring my backpack or anything. And I'm in my tank top, so I don't expect to need much else. Didn't even bring water. Basically just my camera, my earphones, and my heart rate monitor. Which, you know, I actually think it's a very, very good idea. It's one of the best expenses, one of the best investments I've ever made. When I first started running, that was to buy a heart rate monitor. Now, this is not to say everybody should or must. Just for me, it was a good idea. And that's because for me, the big problem was that when I was a beginner, I would always push myself way too hard. I would punish myself with extreme workouts for my beginner level. When I got a heart rate monitor, first thing I learned was that I ran too hard. And running too hard was wasting me. It was kicking my ass, like I said. And so with the heart rate monitor, I would then lower my pace. I would bring it down to a more reasonable pace. Although even then, as a beginner, I still pushed too hard, but at least it wasn't insanely hard. I still limited it. And that I have the heart rate monitor thing. It was always ringing its little alarm. Ding, 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 ding. You're going too hard. It would make me so angry too, by the way. Because, you know, when I'm a beginner, I would, like a child, I would punch myself in the chest. I said, what a sissy heart I have. What a weak little heart. I get so angry at my heart, I punch myself in the chest. Yeah, I know it's stupid. That's why I'm saying it. But it's funny now that I look back, because since I've kept all of this up, my heart has actually grown. Medically, when I had my last stress echo, I'm like, damn. The doctor literally had to call whoever his book. So he wasn't even a resident anymore. He was actually a doctor, but he had to call another physician. This guy's heart, it's pretty big. His stroke volume. No, that's what troubled him, because he was like, your stroke volume does not match your heart size. Because they're used to people with pathology. They're used to people with hearts getting big because of obesity, and I wasn't one of those. So he couldn't figure it out. I spoke to the other doctor, and the other doctor said, oh, do you run? Yeah. Oh, that's why. Yes, that's why my resting heart rate is in the mid to low 40s. And all of that because I wear heart rate monitors. I've been wearing them for 20 years now. Now they have extra bells and whistles. You know, a few years ago they started transmitting through Bluetooth. Are you kidding? I used to have the Polars that had nothing but AM radio. And they weren't that great. Polar still isn't that great. I have one. I have 2 Polar monitors. And I have, these are Garmin monitors that I use, by the way. The difference is that the Garmin monitors are much more reliable. They're much less likely to give you spurious results. That's what I was going to say is back in the beginning, my Polar heart rate monitors, see, those are the mountains on the other side. There have been a couple of times when I wanted to do all, because there's like a series of 3. It's this one. That's Mount Jurupa. This is another unnamed mountain. But they're the 3 tallest peaks here. They're each about 1,000 to 1,200 feet. So, I mean, they're not that bad. But a short path between them, to try to do a path between all of those 3, is about 9 miles. I'll try it one day. But going back to Garmin versus Polar, as I said, the Polar heart straps, as a matter of fact, back before the Bluetooth, because I've had them forever, so I even became a little bit of an expert on their idiosyncrasies. One of the problems with Polar straps is that they would often give you spurious results. And, oh, heaven help you if you run near power lines. Because the early Polars transmitted on an AM frequency. And whenever you ran too close to power lines, it wasn't always. See, that's the worst part. If it was always, then that would also, you'd figure it out. No, it would be like once in a while, you'd get these crazy readings. And so that also made the heart rate monitor unreliable for people who might suffer from atrial fibrillation or, heart rate flutters. Because the first time it happened, I actually thought that. I'm like, oh my God, am I dying? No, just the power lines. Almost all things, even the Garmin strap will occasionally get affected by power lines. This area is pretty nice. I actually kind of like the way it looks. It looks like it would be very friendly to people who are near this place who didn't know. There's a lot of these little hills, as a matter of fact. That's what I'm saying. I've just discovered that there's lots of these little hills out here in Riverside and San Bernardino. So I might do another one. There's one that I've already done before. It's called Bear Mountain. The only problem with that one, though, is that Bear Mountain, very popular amongst bikers. And the problem there is that some of them will get a little too fast on the roads, and they might have some blind parts. Because, I mean, if it was all open here, it would be perfectly no problem. But some of the paths there, you can't see. And so you go around a curve, and suddenly this guy's coming at you at 20 miles an hour. They'll blast through it because I guess they think they're already in competition. Now, there is one thing I should say. This is technically private property. Okay. And so technically, if the owners didn't want you here, they would get rid of you. Now, I have actually done this hike a few times. I've actually spoken with, not the owner, because the owner, I think, is like some corporate, some people far away. They never come here. They have their guardians, their guard guys. And those guys are actually pretty cool. They're just working class stiffs, and they don't mind those of us who just come here to walk through these hills. What they don't like are the jerks that come and do this kind of stuff. The people who come here at night, and these are mostly people who will come at night after they've stolen a car, and they will come and dispose of it. Or some people who make for whatever reason, they come and dump trash here. Those are the people the owners here don't like, which should make sense. So they don't like those. They don't like the off-roaders. because the off-roaders kick up too much dirt. And trust me, that people everywhere, like for miles around, will be complaining. So those are the people that the owners don't like. I say this because if you consider this place for a hike, it is private, but as long as you respect the area and you don't do what the dummies that do this, that don't respect the area, you should be okay. As I said, they are nice. They're nice folks. They've seen me, and so every once in a while they'll even come through and they, oh, hey, how you doing? But just respect the land. Don't be a douche. Don't, but I mean, this is the basic stuff. I mean, I shouldn't even have to say it. Most of you all probably already know it. I mean, when you go to hike in other places, it's the same rule, isn't it? Don't trash the place. Don't do things that would be illegal. Don't screw around. Stop screwing around. Okay, let's keep going. There is Rattlesnake Peak, by the way. That's next. And there is San Gorgonio and San Bernardino peaks. If you go far enough that way, behind these other mountains, I think one is Box Springs, the other one's Jedi Mountain. Behind them is San Jacinto. Over there. Oh, that is, I keep thinking that I see Mount Rubidoux, but Mount Rubidoux is behind these. You'll see it in a bit. That's just Box Springs. You can tell because of the antennas. And I can also hear either they're motorcycles or off-road vehicles. I can't tell that. But yes, as I said, I've done this a number of times, and it's a nice trail. And the people, like I said, even though it is private, as long as you respect the trail, you don't trash it, you don't make it worse for others, you don't commit crimes, the owners do nothing. This is peak. Here we are. Rattlesnake. Next, you have this thing. There is Mount Rubidoux. It looks like a little baby compared to all these other hills, doesn't it? Doesn't feel like a baby when I'm running up that thing. This one actually scares me a bit. This next peak 1729, the unnamed peak. If you look right around here at the beginning, the trails are right there. But believe it or not, it just feels like they're steeper than normal. I don't know. This decline here is quite steep and treacherous. So I will turn off the camera in just a bit, but I thought I'd at least show you this. But I've actually seen, as you can see here, there's vehicles that, yeah, they will. There's people that are crazy enough to try it. I've actually seen a couple of Jeeps come up here, so that's impressive. And this coming up wouldn't probably be so hard. It's going down that is the challenge here. See? I will start slipping, which is why I'm no longer looking at the camera. I'm looking at the road before me. Okay, so we've reached the middle mountain between Rattlesnake Peak and the other one, as you can tell here. There's Mount Baldy. That's peak 1729. And that's where we came from. Yeah, it's just a little deviation. Anyway, we're at a little over 2 miles, 2.22 miles. We've done 857 feet up, 575 down. And as you can tell, we seem to be maintaining a pace just a little over 2 miles an hour, which should tell you, if we can do that, this is, again, not that hard. But we have more in store. And that's going to be a few miles because it's got like a ridge and stuff, so that's the main attraction. Now, the question for me is, do I take the path from that side there, so go down, or do I take this other path this way? You know what? What the hey? I'll take the longer one, that one. That means that I'll go down this way. Have more elevation change because I'll be going down, excuse me, I'll be going down and then going back up. So, as always, more challenge. So since the temperature's not bad, the temperature's probably right now about 72, I think. You can see my skin temp, it's not that high. The sun will be setting in about an hour, hour and a half. So the sun's not much of a problem. So I have no real reason to need water, but some of you might. I'll show you how much water I lose. We'll see how correct I am at the end. But if you need it, don't bring it. How much? Well, the problem is if you bring too much, then it just becomes a hassle. I would suggest, knowing nothing better, electrolytes. Of course, make sure you have plenty of electrolytes for your water, especially salt. I'd say 16 ounces for every hour you're out here in medium temps. That may already be too much. So I expect to be out here 3 hours. For a beginner, I would say just bring a 32 ouncer and weigh yourself like I do. Get a nice accurate scale. Take it seriously, because the other thing some people will be like, oh, I weighed myself with clothes and then when I came back, not much difference. Well, no shit. Your clothes are all full of sweat. You gotta weigh yourself with nothing before and after. I mean, come on. I shouldn't have to explain all of this to you. There they are. There's Rattlesnake Peak, where we came from. As you can tell, we are almost up there. We're almost 400 feet gained, which is not much compared to the other stuff that I've done. On paper, it's not much, but the experience I'm living right now, hell yeah, it's kicking my ass. It never gets easy. You just get tougher. Whoa. This is quite an incline.
Lap 3, 27:25, heart rate 114, average speed 2.2.
There we go. And if I'm doing it under 30 minutes, that means that this isn't that bad. Actually, to be fair, I've noticed that whenever if I do a lap very fast, some of that fast will translate to the next mile. I don't know what to make of that precisely right now, because my brain is losing blood because my legs need it. But do with that what you will. Well, the only thing that matters right now is that I'm just pushing. I also shouldn't always try to make every trek this incredibly competitive 10,000 foot climb. Sometimes I should just enjoy things. And if I believed that, I'd be going half as fast. And I'd be taking breaks, but then I'd bore you. Instead, we'll do this whole thing to the top with no breaks. As you can see, there's still more peak up there, so we still got plenty. At least this will be all of the toughness that we will face here. Once we reach the peak, it's pretty much going to be almost all downhill. On the way back, on the hike, we'll do another couple hundred feet, which will feel punishing because, you know, after a few miles, it always feels more difficult. Did I tell you there are coyotes in these hills? Of course, coyotes are almost not a concern. So they're very small. The biggest ones might weigh, what, 20 pounds, 25 pounds? About the size of a small Yorkshire Terrier. I don't know. But they're small. I mean, they're still ornery. People around here keep chickens, and the coyotes will regularly steal their chickens. And if you have a little dog, the coyotes will eat your little dog too. So, small dogs, maybe even toddlers. Although, who in their right mind would leave a toddler alone? If anything, the coyotes have more to fear from us, because plenty of gun owners out here, and people will protect their chickens with those guns. They're like, you can't kill it, I need it, that's gonna be my meal. And so they'll shoot the coyotes, sadly. Sometimes I will hear them on these hikes, but usually only after sunset. Right now, they hear me. There's a few of them on this mountain. But they keep their distance. We are the nightmares of the animal kingdom. We have almost nothing to fear from them, and they have everything to fear from us. There are also snakes, which is why they called it Rattlesnake Mountain or Rattlesnake Hill back there. Here too, of course. But for those who actually live in areas that have snakes, you know, it's not really a big deal. Just pay attention. 99% of the time, a snake will get out of your way, or at the worst, the snake will warn you. The snake will be very, very obvious with his warning. I've seen them a few times, like I said, and they're very obvious. If anything, sometimes as a guy, sometimes you see them and their skin looks cool. You almost want to touch them. And I've heard that is actually why many people get bit. Not so much that they get like surprised, although that of course happens. But that seems to be actually a rarity. It's far more likely that somebody reached out to a snake and got bit. Yeah. Just don't do that. I think we have just climbed about 600 feet from when we started this peak. So, I mean, it's not the toughest in the world, but it'll still kick your ass. at the peak. This is the easy part. And the last time I actually saw a snake out here, it was right around here too. So. Just let it slither away. Let it go on its way and I go on mine. It's been a couple of years since I've actually come up this hill. And in the distance you can see the peak there. That's the actual, this is like the sub peak. Matter of fact, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I went up here with my students from the other side. We'll be heading that way anyways. Yes. Looks like somebody has put a cross there. There's a cross on that mountain too. This one, and as you know, there's a cross. Not too surprised. There are this Riverside and Bloomington was founded by Mormons. For Californians. It's a funny place because it's both, they are both very religious people, or of course, you know, still tradition. This place has them being religious. Yeah, it is correct, it is accurate. So it would not surprise me. Before that, I'm saying that because there was a pole on this peak here. So it looks like somebody has taken it upon themselves to bring the mountain across. I find it interesting. It's a little controversial with some folks because they may not agree with us. Maybe. I mean, I look at all the graffiti that people write on these rocks and stuff, and I see other people who hike, they're like, oh, why do they do that? And trust me, there was a time when, many years ago, when I was also very, very opposed to graffiti. I went out of my way to clean off graffiti off buildings to the point where I got threatened multiple times by the local gangsters. And I did it to piss them off. It was kind of like my counter graffiti. I would graffiti their graffiti by cleaning it up. My whole point though is that I did these things because I didn't feel that I wanted the graffiti where I was at. But then there comes a time when some stuff is like, wait a minute. I said, if this stuff makes it 2,000 years from now, like the cave paintings. That doesn't make it right, but wow, this thing's impressive. Oh my God. They literally screwed it into the mountain rock. Oh, and you have to have a borrachos to bring their beer. But so, I mean, no, I don't necessarily agree with the graffiti and stuff. Limited Liability Corporation. Looks like somebody put their information in. guess if they're gonna make a memorial. I mean, the thing is, of course, as I said, there's a whole debate, and I'm not in a position to debate that well because this belongs to somebody else. Somebody erected a cross. I will probably take it down. So that is true. The owner probably doesn't care much either because, as I just said, actually from a distance you can't barely see the tree. Come down there, put the sun, you can see this. From up here, yes. There was a tree up there. You can see it in the shade. That's the one that is like your landmark to know when it's time to come off the mountain. It's the only one there, so it's not like you're gonna miss it. Okay. So from here, we're gonna get mostly like dirt road and a little bit of a green patch over here. See that down there. It's a nice sunset, isn't it? Yes, there's our path. When I was coming through that part, for a moment, I'd almost thought that the people who built the houses might have closed all of this off. But it looks like they didn't. This way we get to make it back to our starting point. But we take the third hill. As I said, it's not that tough, but given that I've already done 5 miles, it feels tough. It is not tougher than any of the hikes that I normally do. But remember we said, it still feels tough. It still kicks my butt. This hill is actually popular with rock climbers because of the rock face over there. I'll show you right now. is actually very disconcerting for me. I feel this fear like that somebody might come up behind me and push me over to my death. Yes, I do. Yeah, this is a whole rock face. It's hard to see, as you can see, but there's a little bit that you can see. And that's the little local park. All of this is new construction. The sunset is awesome, but it's time to conclude our hike, our mini hike. Okay, so we have concluded our hike and we are at 6 miles. That was almost 2,000 feet gained, 1,996 feet. So not that much. It was nice. It had its challenges, as I said, but for other folks it might be considered intermediate. So I understand that. I would agree. Probably is intermediate level. So as for the mountains themselves, as you noticed, there were the 3 prominent peaks that we took. The first one at the beginning. The second one, Rattlesnake Peak. And then this last one, 1729. Well, and this last mountain is the rocky face, as you can see here. Oh, it's pretty hard to focus. Anyway, each one of them had their own challenges. There's a light on this other peak that we did not do. That's a light. That's the one that 1729 was the one that had the cross. Each one was in and of itself kind of challenging, especially 1729, as you noticed when we started to go up. Wow, that was tough. I mean, it's no register ridge, but it had its difficult parts. So you want to keep that in mind. Okay, well, as always, I hope this was an easy challenge and you might consider it. Just respect the land.